What's up guys, welcome back to my channel, and for today's video we'll be looking at the Grand Mafia, the event faction co-op, and I'll be breaking down a couple of tasks and also tier listing the task of which task you should do and which task to look out for, and also give you some analysis and also to give you some data on which task you should be doing, because according to your rank of your faction, for the faction co-op you require a different number of points to achieve the maximum rewards, and also like for different rank there will be different number of tasks that you're able to do, and also if there are special challenge tasks which is only available if you are soldier and above for your faction co-op. Have you ever realized that once you have completed some of the faction co-op tasks and that you're not able to get the maximum rewards because you have just taken up too many of these low pointed tasks? But fear not, from my spreadsheet over here you're able to see how low pointed tasks you can take and what are the averages you must hit to achieve the maximum amount of rewards based on the faction level and faction tier rewards. Yeah, so as you can see over here, I've already done up the amount of points you require for each task. And looking at this, there are 5 different grades that you are able to obtain for your faction. Of course, the higher the grade of your faction means the rewards you're able to obtain from faction co-op is better. And honestly, I think the Godfather's tier, the rewards are not too bad, and you are also able to complete these to obtain these max rewards without paying any money or buying packs. As you can see, I also given a breakdown of how many points you require for each task, the average amount of points that you require for each task for your respective rank or grade. And for trainee, the average task point needed is 114 to achieve the maximum reward, up to 200 for Godfather tier. However, if you are soldier rank and above, there's this like special challenge task and a random 3 tasks out of these, I think about 8 tasks will appear in your faction co-op, and I also have ranked them according to which tier they belong, and also given the updated amount of points needed on average if you want to achieve the max reward, considering that you complete the challenge task. Because the challenge task gives you quite a lot of points, 350 points, the average needed would reduce per task and becomes a little more doable, because I think 185 and 200, you cannot do a lot of tasks that is around that points or even more, because they can get quite difficult. I also further did a breakdown on what is the average points you need for the task if you are attempting the challenge task. So for the Godfather tier, if let's say you are performing the number of tasks 3, which is equivalent to over here the challenge task, where you have to take up 3 tasks from the faction co-op, which is the action points or smugglers exchange task, you are required to reach an average of 83 points per 3 tasks. So as long as you do a task, let's say consume action points that gives you more than 83 points, you are sort of reach the average needed of 200 over here once you combine the points together. So as long as you do your faction task that it contains above this amount of points, your average needed would be lower than 200 for Godfather's tier. And respectively, if you are like a soldier or a couple regime, you have to complete a task that is more than the number that is shown here. Of course, if you do a task that is higher than the number shown in this like spreadsheet, the easier it is for you to complete or to attain the max rewards for the faction co-op. Next up, we will be looking at the task, and I'll give you a reason why I rank certain tasks from like A to F. And just a breakdown, for F is a very bad task, and as much as possible you shouldn't do it or never do it. And for the tier D, the reason why I rank the task as a D tier is not that it's a bad task, it is a task that only if you can do it. So this can be a very wide range of spectrum. Number 1, only if you can do it could mean that you can take a low pointed task but also achieve the maximum rewards that you could obtain. Reasons why you could do this is maybe because you are running out of time to complete your faction co-op, and previously, maybe earlier in the faction co-op event, you done a couple of very high pointed tasks, so you can afford to do some complete some low pointed tasks, and you attaining the max reward. So that is one of the reason why it will be in tier D. The other reason is maybe you do want to spend money on the game. So obviously over here you can see purchase 7 packs, purchase 20,000 gold is obviously in the D tier, only if you can afford, or only if you want to buy money. So yes, it can range from like a spectrum of like you can afford to complete low pointed tasks, or you can purchase packs, or lose a large amount of troops for you to complete the task. Yeah, and from rank A to C is a normal like matrix ranking, where C is like average, B would be a good task to complete, and A is a task that you should do. I'll also give you a breakdown of the highlighted parts of the task. So for the yellow highlighted task, it is a task that you should only aim to, or you should only complete it if you are completing the challenge task over here in this tab. Yeah, so if you're not doing the challenge task, you should not complete any task that is highlighted in yellow. For a variety of reasons, they could be like low pointed tasks, or it could be a task that consumes a lot of time. So there's a couple of reasons why I've categorized some tasks to be yellow highlighted. And also under the tier list, there are also red highlighted ones, which is a task that regardless of the tier that I gave it, I recommend you to never touch on that task for a variety of reasons, which I'll touch later on. And yeah, let's go through the task list that I've given the tier list for. And obviously for a lot of the gold packs, it is a tier D. And the reason why I gave the 159 pack B tier is because I think it is quite worth it. You can just purchase the 99 cents pack and get 159 points easily, or even like do your occasional buying. Maybe you want to buy an enforcer. It's also a good opportunity to complete this task as well. So I thought 159 is not a very bad point, and it's considered a high return investment kind of task to me. And next would be the campaign under the consume 1200 stamina, and I thought this gives you 160 points, which is pretty good, and you can complete instantly. That's why it's ranked B tier. And of course the action points, all this just complete it if you are doing the challenge task on completing task that requires you to use up your action points. Yeah, of course we go to our first red highlighted ones, which is like having 250,000 or 400,000 of your tier 4 associates getting killed. And obviously why you want to complete this task is very expensive to heal, or even like to train back your associates. So definitely I would discourage you from accepting this task unless maybe you are in Governor's War, Massacre Day, maybe you have a lot of troops to die. Then yeah, go ahead, you can have your troops die. And also this execute enemy under bosses like UB, it's not very economically effective to execute these many enemy bosses, because the duration where you get buffs is 1 day, so anything above like 1 is terrible. I'll just go down the tier list, and what I like is the family currency 1,000 and 2,000, spending 1,000 or 2,000 because it gives you quite a bit of points. Yep, some of these like hell event, I would do it. Basically almost every highlighted ones, which is either A or B tier, the ones highlighted in green are either A or B tier, I would usually accept this task. Yeah, and obviously it's too many hell events to complete. It's not economically efficient. That's why it's highlighted in red to never do this kind of task. Let's just go down the list. We got a few Bs, and for this is a special reason. Only if you have not attained a mention level of 25, so basically 24 and below, you should participate in this like personal event top 10, achieving top 10 in your personal event, because it's quite easy if you have a high level or high influence investment to complete, or training a lot of like troops. It's a pretty good an easy event to get top 10 in if you are not like mentioned level 25. Yeah, so the last thing I want to touch on is this over here, the random task giving you 210 points. It is a task that you should never do. The reason I say this is because the task that you obtain, the difference between 240 and 210 is almost the same. It's like almost exactly the same. Only I think for 240 you probably like rob more resources, spend more gold or something, but the task that you obtain from 210 and 240 is exactly the same. So why not just accept the 240 random task and get 30 more points than doing the same task as the 210 random task. So that's why I will not recommend you accepting any 210 random tasks from the faction co-op. Yep, that's it for this tab. And next we'll move on to challenge tasks. I recommend you to take up the robbery task, completing faction co-op on the final day, like at least six tasks on the final day of the faction co-op. Completing tasks worth 150 and above, this is the best one. Completing action point tasks and also completing smuggler's tasks. And the reason why the challenge task of completing 6 faction co-op tasks on the last day ranks higher than the first day is because by the time you reach the last day, many people in your faction have probably completed a lot of tasks, and there's a lot of like high ranking tasks remaining in the faction co-op. So there's many tasks for you to choose, and you're never going to run out of high pointed tasks. Yeah, that's why completing the last day is better than the first day. And I've also consolidated all of the tasks that is rank A or B tier for me, and this is just the task that I think is very good to have. Usually I would pick up 90% of the tasks for faction co-op in this like A to B tier list. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoy this video and look out for which task that you should be taking up. And I hope that I also given you some insight on how many points your task should be based on your faction rank or tier, and also the number of points you should be trying to achieve minimally if you were to take up the challenge task. Yeah, and I'll see you guys again real soon.